Breaking news, the end of Zepbound, Tirzepatide compound, and WEGOVY semaglutide compound. Is it the end? Do we have to stop having compounds now in lieu of new FDA regulations? I've got the breaking news for you. First, if we don't know each other, hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I've lost over 106 pounds the last 2 years and 2 months, so 26 months, of being on Mounjaro, Zepbound, and actually a Tirzepatide compound myself. I'm currently now on the highest dose Zepbound, 15 milligrams. And on today's episode, I'm gonna cite my sources down in the description link below. So you can fact check me. I do require on this channel that I be factually accurate. And if I do make a mistake, because I'm human, I will make sure I address it with the update. So this is the most update to information as of March 12th, 2025, talking about compounds with Zepbound, Tirzepatide, and WEGOVY's semaglutide. In my free encouragement group, it has been a tsunami wave of scarcity, fear, and a lot of emotions regarding compounds in lieu of the new FDA rulings. Before we even begin, I want you to take a deep breath. We are not henny pennies here at Countess of Shopping. We do not live in fear. We do not live in scarcity. We live in a place of abundance, and that we are solution seekers and solution takers. And we're gonna figure out solutions along the way, and I got you covered. But I want you to take a deep exhale that we're not gonna do fear here. This that I see going around, no. Squash it. We're gonna go with fact by fact, solution by solution, and I want you to leave this video with a couple of solutions if you are on compounds that are within the rules, within the legalities, and also hopefully some encouragement too. And some fun along the way, and hopefully I'll crack some jokes along the way. Let's dive in. Okay, so what happened is the FDA this Monday just released, let me pull up the article so I can make sure I'm walking it through with you guys. So this is my source is Reuters on this. As of March 10th, the FDA will hold off action on weight loss drug copies pending court ruling. So what that means is we have Tirzepatide, which is the compound for Zepbound and Mounjaro, and semaglutide, which is the compound for WEGOVY, both of which, Zepbound and WEGOVY, were on the FDA shortage list because it was a very hard getting medication. And so they came off of the FDA shortage list, which then changes some of the rules associated with compounds, meaning the vials that you have that you can put a syringe in and draw and then give yourself the injection versus a pen. It is not from Eli Lilly, the manufacturer, Zepbound, and it's not from WEGOVY, the manufacturer, Novo Nordisk, the manufacturer of WEGOVY. It's not from them. They're from compound pharmacies, and you have to get a prescription for these. Go through a healthcare provider to get these medications. I got my Tirzepatide shipped through Join Fridays. I love them. Very helpful with that. And I'll link some of that information down below. But with this new FDA court ruling, we've known that there's changes. We've known that Eli Lilly, because they are a US-based company, is litigious involving compound companies. WEGOVY is a Danish-based company, and I'm sure there's lawsuits, but it's not the same way in which we're seeing for compound pharmacies that Eli Lilly is doing versus semaglutide with Novo Nordisk for WEGOVY. So with this, because they're off the shortage list, what this means for you is things are going to change, but it's not bad in my opinion. When I see in my free group, I keep trying to be like, this is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. Obviously, you need to talk to your healthcare provider first and foremost and get from them what specifically they are doing, because there's a ton of healthcare providers. I saw Hims and Hers website, like their stock dramatically plummeted. It's been interesting to see how this is playing out across the marketplace because of these legal changes. So the FDA is not taking action on compound pharmacies, or the compounders, basically. Let me go through. It's chemically, they're giving them 60 to 90 days to cease making semaglutide and Tirzepatide copies. The US regulation allowing compound pharmacies to manufacture and sell large quantities of brand name medications that are in short supply. So the person who is suing is the Outsourcing Facility Association. They sued the FDA over their decision and filed an injunction that would allow compounding pharmacies to keep making copies of WEGOVY semaglutide. They also had another lawsuit, by the way, for Tirzepatide too. So the Compounding Facility Association, based in Texas, they are going through the court system, honey. They're standing up for compounding pharmacies. And so on Monday, March 10th, the FDA clarified that state licensed compounding pharmacies and outsourcing facilities which make compounded drugs in bulk have until April 22nd and May 22nd, or until the court decides on the injunction to stop making WEGOVY copies, whichever comes first. What I am seeing and what this means is we've got solutions here, is that I'm seeing across the marketplace, again, check with your own, if you're taking a compound, what your telehealth people are doing. But it's essentially meaning for Tirzepatide, which again, two separate drugs here, two separate medications, but so let's break it down, that the end of the 3-month supply probably will be coming to an end because the compounding pharmacies have 503A and 503B. 503B compounding pharmacies are bulk, large batches. They make a ton. And that is, from my, I'm not a healthcare provider, I'm not a legal person, always check with your own healthcare provider. But my understanding of this is that 503B is in bulk and large quantities. That is in violation of the law, basically, from my non-medical and non-lawyer standpoint. But to me, it looks pretty cut and dry. So we're going to be seeing the falling off perhaps of 3-month supplies, of where if you're getting your compound, you're getting them, probably you won't be able to. For Tirzepatide, that may not be the case for semaglutide, but I suspect that may be coming down the pipeline with it. Again, that is me questioning that, but I am literally seeing in the marketplace as I kind of go through and do my research on this for this video, that the 503 bulk, large batches, that's coming to an end because that is in violation, seemingly legally, of what is happening in the marketplace right now. But the FDA is not taking action against compound pharmacies until the federal courts make a regulation, so there's some time on that. I don't know when the federal courts would see that case, so it's buying us some time. So if you are on a 3-month supply right now of Tirzepatide, semaglutide, when can you get your refill legally? Of course, we always do things out of integrity, legally. There's never any shady boots business, like dot your I's and cross your T's and be good human beings. Side note, speaking of being good human beings, the FDA, if you don't know what's happening within our federal government here in the US, and I do not talk politics at all, I have no desire to talk about that at all on my YouTube channel, but if you don't know what's happening within the FDA, there is an AP report talking, I mean, I live right outside of Northern Virginia, and so I can speak directly on this. FDA folks, they let a lot of people go from our federal government. They're firing people left and right. If you're international watching, our federal government's the Food and Drug Administration, who helps regulate our drugs and our food. They brought back, the federal government then brought back and was like, maybe that's not a good idea to fire people who like check our food to make sure we're not getting poisoned and things like that. But there is a mass exodus of FDA people in terms of staffing at the FDA. Just, I'm throwing that out there and I'm shutting the door on that little nugget of information if you're not aware. I know some people have stopped watching the news and things like that. Like, that's what what's happening. Now we're going to go back into a news base. I'm not at all trying to make any sort of political statements at all, simply factually based of what's happening. So going back over to Compound Association said in a statement, so this is the compound pharmacy that is suing the FDA, said on Monday it filed an appeal to overturn Pittman's denial in the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Pittman is expected to make a decision on outsourcing facilities association's request for an injunction on semaglutide later this year. So when is later this year? I don't know. But it buys us some time. And this is one of the key points of it, is buying some time. I would not be a good friend, and I've got more solutions. I have a page full of notes for you guys, literally, of solution. One of them is, right now, this is so out of your control. And I want to re-loop back in of things we can control and things we can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. One of the things we can control is, are we working out? Are we eating healthy foods? Are we trying to have better sleep? Are we doing, the things that we're supposed to be doing to help on a health journey? One of the best things that I did was switch a long time ago away. I had been buying an Amazon magnesium. I switched over to BIOptimizer's Magnesium Breakthrough. I am obsessed with it. Obviously, before you take any supplements, talk to your own healthcare provider. Down in the description link below, there's a discount code, QUEEN, Q-U-E-E-N, 7 types of magnesium. This is exceptional. For me, dramatic change. I can literally see in my Oura Ring how my sleep changed after starting to take BIOptimizers. Now, there's different, I take 2 to 3 pills per night. The nights that I don't take it, I can go with what my body's telling me. And so I want to encourage you, talk to your healthcare provider before taking any supplements. It massively, because I have the Oura Ring to back it up with my data, improved my sleep, muscle recovery, leg cramps, and even I get anxiety. It's helped with my anxiety, but the sleep that I get is like on nights in which I take it, of where it's a gradual sleep, not like a melatonin. It's different than that. But it's helping because there's 7 types included in the pill with so many different things. So going back to things I can control, I can control my food. I can control working out. I can't control this FDA stuff and the regulations and I got no control over that. But what's happening within my household and specifically within my body, I can't control that. And so for me, with a lot of noise going on the exterior, focusing insulary on things I can control and things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference, the serenity prayer really helps me a lot on that. But magnesium breakthrough, I wouldn't be a good friend if I didn't tell you about that. Many of you asked me about Masszymes. That helps with digestion. So for me, I do not get constipated at all with magnesium breakthrough. Masszymes I've been testing and taking. That's another one of the products from BIOptimizers that helps with digestion. It's been, and also with energy too, because I've been so tired. And so that's different. You take that at mealtime. That's been, if people are interested in digestive enzymes, I am been testing actively and still am in the testing phase. You guys know I don't give a Countess of Shopping approval unless I thoroughly test it myself. So I'm still testing that, but I'm really loving the results I'm getting with that. So just FYI, if you like digestive enzymes, use the discount code QUEEN, QUEEN. Going over to 503A compounding pharmacy, it talks about customization. So we talked about the bulk 503B that's going to be going away. Literally, they said April 22nd and May 22nd, they said you've got to be done with this 3 months to end that, basically for bulk and large batch compounds of Tirzepatide. With it. 503A is customized compound pharmacies. Ding, 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 ding. In my opinion, my non-medical opinion and not in that space at all, this is from an outsider, like looking and researching and watching. I think that for medical necessity, it's going to be more customized. And you're going to start seeing that with different healthcare providers. The compound pharmacies are going to be switching from these bulk mass productions, which by the way, made them a ton of money. From like a business standpoint, I'm like, this is fascinating of just making copy, that you can really scale very quickly. Switching from a 503B bulk over to a 503A customized. It's going to be for medical necessity. For example, a medical necessity is you get super nauseous. And so they add into Tirzepatide or semaglutide something to help prevent your nausea. You get super tired. They add something in there to make it, to help with that. It's more customized. That's where I think that the level in which compounds will continue to stay is through these customized, where it's not batched, it's customized to you, the patient, for medical necessity for you, the patient, which means you're probably gonna have to talk to your healthcare provider more. If you do refills, some of you do where you can refill and just submit a form to get a refill. You probably are going to have more consultations with your healthcare provider. Just from what I'm reading between the lines on this, customized drugs, medical necessity components of it, to see if you do have other outlying things like muscle recovery or nausea or like leg cramping or fatigue, things like that. Now, some of the things that they add into it that I got to go be at a dinner with a ton of nurses who were highly skilled, a ton of doctors, highly skilled. I got to ask a bunch of questions off the record, of course, that I found fascinating. And so I want to share that with you, that the things that are being added into the compounds are things such as NAD, which I've heard a bunch on TikTok about NAD, and then also it's either vitamin B or vitamin D. It's vitamin B, and that you can have a lot of vitamin B, whereas there is a limit, and you can technically overdose on NAD. And so with NAD, it can lead to kidney disease issues, and like if you have too much. Or if you have kidney, it can lead to like there's a limit to that for the NAD that's being added versus vitamin B. And so I found this interesting. So just FYI, I wanted to pass along some information after talking with these folks at a dinner. Lastly, I was all around and I was just kept asking, I'm like, oh, well, just tell me a little bit more about what's being added within the compounds. It's fascinating in there. So just FYI on that. In terms of, so to combat this, Zepbound released vials up to 10 milligrams. So it goes for Zepbound doses. The starting dose for Zepbound is 2.5 milligrams, and then it goes 5 milligrams, 7.5 milligrams. 10 milligrams. It goes up to there. So it's 4 doses, boop, 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 boop. And then there's 2 more on top of that that are the pens. It's Zepbound 15 milligrams and Zepbound 12.5 milligrams that are not in vials. And they are not cheap. You can use the savings card, but the savings card doesn't apply if you have, for example, any sort of government type healthcare related. You can't use the savings card. So these vials that are the needle that you would withdraw, single-use vials, so they're not like 1 month supply, it's a single-use vial, you can get directly from Zepbound. Zepbound sells 1 million pens or 1 million Zepbounds a month, vials and pens. 10% of those are coming directly from Eli Lilly's website, which is 100,000 patients that are getting the vials every month. And that was my source on that was NPR was talking about this. Fascinating article. Which, by the way, did you hear also that Eli Lilly's CEO, David Ricks, just got a 10% pay bump to $29.2 million on March 10th, as the article that was also in fiercepharma.com. Whereas WEGOVY is also combating this compound change by selling pens directly on their website. It's called, what is it? I did a whole story on it. NovoCare. It's on WEGOVY's website. You can buy their pens, so they don't have vials, whereas Zepbound, where they're having these price reductions, normally if you're brand new, starting with a savings card would be at $650 a month. The vials are less than that, a lot less than that. WEGOVY's pens are $499. And you cannot use health insurance, is my understanding, for either of those. So it's self-pay, basically, which compound people are self-paying, that you're not able to get that through your health insurance, that you're self-paying. So this is, so they're meaning WEGOVY, Novo Nordisk manufacturer, and Eli Lilly, Zepbound's manufacturer, are trying to combat against the pricing issue by having these cheaper options. It's the pens that cause the shortage, and it's the part of the pen mechanism with the cost on it, of where you can see in there, this pen has been used from Mounjaro, but you can see that the pen on there, it's clicked over, but that clicking, that is where the cost is and within this. And then like all the little pieces on here too for the manufacturing, that's moonies. That's taking some moonies 20s. And so having versus these vials, the Zepbound vials with the needle in there, is helpful. So your action items with this information that we've got in there is 503A, compounding pharmacies, in my humble opinion, and who am I? I'm saying that with like, this is from my research, but I believe in it from researching it, that there is, in lieu of these laws and the FDA rulings and the lawsuits, and it's going through the court process right now, the 503A is customized and medical necessity will continue. So if you have nausea with your medication, that seemingly the compound could, then you can get Tirzepatide with an added component, or semaglutide with an added component in it. That will be the new wave of compounds, that they will continue to exist, compounds, but with having more customization and medical necessity associated with it, for nausea, for fatigue. You know how many times in a given day I hear about people's nausea and fatigue? A ton. And feel free, I love hearing about it. I do this because I love hearing from you, and I love interacting about all of our collective sources of how GLP-1s have saved our lives. Which, by the way, I know it's going to happen in the comments. Me stating Eli Lilly's CEO's salary bump up, they're going to get so much hate on that. And again, I like to, you can feel two things at the same time, and that's okay. Daniel Tiger told me that, and it's true. You can feel two things at the same time and be like, it's egregious, the pricing with pharmaceuticals, but also they had to create this, and so they need to make their cost, being a business person, a cost back on that. I can also understand that. I can also understand somebody wanting this life-saving medication because it's truly changed my life, but being priced out, I get that. 100, I get that. I get that 100. Like, don't think that I don't get that, because I do. I do. What I do also have in collective, it's a lot of stuff, it's a lot of emotions going on. I am so dang grateful to Eli Lilly. I'm so dang grateful for Novo Nordisk for taking the financial risk, millions and millions and millions of dollars, to create these drugs. One of the drugs that I just reported on, which is why you want to click like and subscribe on this video so you can see more of my content, and share this with all of your besties. If you've got a bestie on compound, share it. But I reported on a video that either came out or is coming out about 125 billion shortfall because one of the upcoming GLP-1 drugs did not hit their data numbers in which they hit. $125 billion for that company. So you bet your dang dollar that Eli Lilly and WEGOVY They've invested a lot of money, and that's why they need the return. And think of all the, by the way, the drugs that they invested in that did not pan out like this. Like that one that just lost the market share of 125 billion valuation that dropped. So I can also be super, super, super grateful too, in addition to being like, these prices are egregious, me paying thousands and thousands of dollars, but also that's capitalism. Like, this is where I'm like, all these different, like, all these things can be true at one time, but also capitalism. If we didn't have capitalism, we wouldn't have all these drugs. And gosh, I'm so grateful. I mean, to be able to go and go from, for me, morbidly obese to be doing things like this photo shoot and stuff like that. Like, what are you kidding me right now? To be able to walk 2 to 6 miles, to be able to go on, I'm going on horseback riding camp very soon. I couldn't fit on a horse before. And there was no end in sight in that, by the way, either. That now I'm able to do and be physically active, and I'm gonna live a lot longer, which makes me revamp. We have been massively over the last years revamping our financial plan for retirement. I'm like, no, I'm gonna live longer. I need to figure out my retirement better. I felt like we had a plan for retirement, and now that's, if I'm living another 20 years, like so I'm encouraging you to look at your 401k and your retirement plans and get on it, honey, if you haven't. Get on that financial planning, my loves. So all that to say, let's go back over. So the takeaways from this video, action items. 1, if you're taking a compound, talk immediately with your telehealth provider or wherever you're getting the compound from. You can even call, which I have done before with my Tirzepatide, I called the compounding pharmacy directly. I'm like, it was like Monopoly. I'm like, do not pass go, do not collect $200. I just called directly to the compounding pharmacy and picked up the old school 1997 Zach Morris telephone and called them and was like, hey boo, and asked them a ton of questions. You can also do that too. But find out, and then you very well will be seeing, because here's what's happening. They're going to start coming after, the FDA is holding off until that federal, let me go back to the article. They're going to hold off on action, meaning enforcement, of the weight loss drugs copies. But part of me is like, how are they going to have action when no one works there anymore? Like, they fired all these FDA employees. Who's gonna check me, boo? In the words of Sheree, who's gonna check me, boo? No one, because no one's at the FDA anymore. Like, people, I live in Virginia, like near Northern Virginia. Okay, I digress. So there, that was me joking. Part of that. Let me get back into, some of you are so factually like, I was joking there. The FDA will come after them. They will. I was making a joke in case people didn't get it. I was totally joking. They will. They're going to have legal action on it because this is going through the courts right now. But I'll tell you what, that Outsourcing Facilities Association in Texas, woo, they are fighting for the compounds, and as they should, because it's a multi-million dollar business. I was at a conference last year. It was at my business coach. I work with Alex Hermosi and Layla Hermosi. I don't know if you guys are business people. They're my business coaches. So I go out to Vegas a lot to work with them, a lot for some business stuff for my video marketing company. And one of the gals there was an owner of not a compounding pharmacy, but she was within semaglutide for patients. And she's like, I went from driving a Jeep now to a Porsche, and we moved into a mansion and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's a multi, if not billion dollar business. She was explaining, I was like, excuse me? Like, I'm not medically trained at all, but am I in the wrong business? Like, that's, so it was like how much money to be made within this, which is why there's so much illegality going to with the Outsourcing Facility Association. Well, that's why they're getting, because it's affecting the pocketbooks of the like, did you see what happens to Hims and Hers stock? Just, I'm taking them as an example. They're one of the, like, that's fascinating to me. So all that to say, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing is going to be all right. It is going to be all right. You're going to be all right. 503A, again, taking the action item, find out what it is, and you're going to probably see that in the marketplace shifting for compound people. Customized, medical necessity. If you're still on a compound, maybe then you go over to the vial directly with Zepbound and get that up to the 10 milligrams and pay cash directly through there. Those can go up to 500. Is it 500 bucks? No, that's not true. Go on their website. They've made some additions on there, but you cannot have insurance with it. And then WEGOVY is doing the same thing. It's $4.99. That's why it was $4.99 for the pens. If you don't want, like, for semaglutide. So if you have questions, please ask them down below. I'm happy to do a follow-up video. I do believe the end of Tirzepatide compound, the Zepbound Tirzepatide, the compound part of it, not the pens, but compounds. 3-month supplies, I foresee that going away. I don't foresee that continue for now. This is the interesting thing. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, honey, I have whiplash because we've ping-ponged all over the place. Like, I'm just here for the ride and the roller coaster. Buckle up, put your seatbelt on. It's gonna change again here in another 30 days or 60 or whatever, or even maybe next week. So just know that this continues to change and evolve. Like, it is quick moving here in the GLP-1 space. We're in literally like, what is that? Like how we had the Industrial Revolution back in the day. When was that? When was the Industrial Revolution? I'm like pulling back out. Like when we have these like revolution, like the Industrial Revolution, we're having, in my opinion, is a medical revolution of what's happening with obesity, type 2 diabetes, and then all the other things that are getting tested with GLP-1 medications, like 20% reduction in strokes, like 20% reduction in heart disease, like cardiovascular events going down by 20%, testing for Alzheimer's, testing for Parkinson's disease. Honey, this is where when people make fun of GLP-1s, I'm like, oh babes, I bet in your family lineage you have some of these diseases that very well may be in 5 years what people are taking to help prevent those diseases or help, not cure them, but help with them once you have them. So it's fascinating. Now, bumping over, because I've talked a lot in this video, which I know if you're still listening, that means you love me and I love you. I love you so much, my sweet friends. You guys are like, literally, I told my husband I was running. I'm like, I gotta go talk to my besties about this. This is crazy. Question of the day, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Tell me, because this is our daily accountability. Let's keep it honest. For me, I bumped up my calories and I am such a happy clam. I'm gonna do a whole other video on that because I've been working out. I was so hungry. And so I've changed my calories and it's been amazing. So for me, my action item of the day is tracking my new calories to be in a calorie deficit. Tracking used to trigger me. If it triggers you, go see my other videos. Number 2, action item, share this video with your bestie. If you've got a bestie on compound, share this video. People need to, because I see people freaking out and I'm like, babes, don't freak out. And I am like the most henny penny. When I say don't be henny penny, I'm like literally talking to myself. So our emoji of the day is a chicken. Because you know the henny penny, you guys know the child fable that I'm speaking of? So our emoji of the day is a chicken. The chicken is, and that tells me if you do the emoji of the day that you've made it this far in the video, and your name recognition of seeing the emoji of the day each day helps me to get to know you better because I care. I don't do daily videos from like just poops and giggles. I do it because sincerely, I care about you guys. Like I care about our community so much. And I'm so grateful for it. So put the chicken down, the little chicken emoji. And if you want to do an eagle instead of a chicken, that will also, and go, caw. You guys know the caws crack me up. Emoji of the day. And then, the third thing is BIOptimizer's magnesium breakthrough, 7 types of magnesium. I don't have constipation issues. Sleep has been dramatically changed. Muscle recovery, leg cramps, anxiety, slightly, not crazy with anxiety, but slightly. Use the discount code QUEEN, same thing for their Masszymes. Obviously, before taking any sort of supplement, talk to your healthcare provider. Like if you have kidney disease, things like that, like certain things with magnesium, you're gonna wanna talk to your healthcare provider before taking any supplements, because I am not medical and I don't wanna ever steer anyone to thinking that I am. Oh man, this wasn't, my you can, you will. She is moved. Oh man, I didn't realize that until 29 minutes in the video and I just realized. I'm like, oh, it's off, it's crooked. No, I need a hot dog. Okay, my loves, I'm off to go. I gotta go film another video and then I'm gonna walk and I gotta lift today too. It's a good day. It's a good day. I love you guys so super much. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping, count my blessings because life is delicious. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, babes.